In this video today, I'm going to show you how to get smooth and stable footage even if you have shaky hands. So let's go into the office and let's talk about it. We all want to get more stable, smooth looking footage in our videos, but sometimes this is hard to do without having a gimbal, or if you have a camera that doesn't have in-body image stabilization or a lens that doesn't have stabilization. Sometimes this can make it a challenge to get that smooth footage that we need for our videos. But I'm going to show you some practical tips on how to get smoother footage without using a gimbal, and sometimes you don't necessarily have to have a camera or a lens that has image stabilization built in. Obviously, this is the easiest way to get smooth, stabilized footage is to have a lens that has stabilization, pair that with a camera that has stabilization, throw it on a gimbal. That's going to be the smoothest footage that you can get. But these are going to be some tips for just hand holding the camera that give you smoother results. Okay, so here I have my Sony FX3 with the Sigma 24-70 lens. This lens does not have stabilization, and I have Sony Steady Shot turned completely off, the image stabilization in camera. So let's talk about some of these techniques. I'm going to film this plant right here and show you some of these tips to help you get smoother footage. So first of all, you don't want to hold the camera so tight that you're like, oh, I can't shake, I'm holding the camera so tight, because then you're obviously going to shake. So I'll demonstrate. If I'm holding the camera super tight, trying not to shake, I'm going to tense up all of my muscles, and that's going to create more stress and tension and cause my hands to shake more. So what you need to do is kind of relax, hold the camera in a firm grip, but kind of relax your muscles so that you're able to get a smoother shot. The second tip is going to be that you hold the camera closer into your body. So instead of holding my arms outstretched and trying to get a smooth shot, I'm going to pull my elbows in, hold the camera closer to my body so that I can stabilize more. And then I'm going to get in close and be able to film a lot smoother than before. So for example, if I'm doing reels at my church, and I'm filming whoever is preaching, I'm not going to, get it vertical, get it ready for reels, and hold it like this, because that's gonna automatically create more stress and more shake in my hands. I'm going to bring it in nice and close, bring my arms in, and I'm going to hold the camera close in. And holding it closer into my body like this gives me another point of contact so that my muscles aren't trying as hard, because I've got them more relaxed, closer to my body, and you've got that extra support to be able to get smoother footage. The next step is to control your breathing. Now I know this might sound weird, but if you're breathing heavily or you're stressed out and your heart rate's increased, you're gonna have shakier footage. So you want to calm your breathing, take some deep breaths, and you wanna breathe in a nice, slow, even way. That way you can get smoother footage. So here's an example of that. If I go in and I'm trying to film and I'm out of breath because I'm talking and I'm breathing kind of heavily, you're going to get some motion in your video. But if I take some deep breaths, slow everything down, now I can get much smoother footage. Another tip is to sway back and forth very slightly, because if everything is still and you've got everything locked in, everything is tensed up, your video is going to be shakier than if you're kind of relaxed and loose, and maybe you get just a little bit, not like a C6 sway, but just a little bit of a sway. That's going to be less noticeable than this kind of jittery shake. So here's an example of that. If I'm trying so hard to film this, and I've got to get this, and I'm kind of uptight about it, trying to hold it as still as I can, you're gonna get more jitter and more shake than if I were to just kind of sway back and forth just a little. This creates a smooth motion versus a jittery, shaky motion. Another thing to really keep in mind with this is that focal length is gonna have a big impact on how much shake you have in your video. The wider that your focal length is, the less shake that's going to be noticeable in the frame. But the more zoomed in you get, the more the shake is going to be noticeable. For example, if I'm filming this at 24 millimeters, you're not seeing just a whole lot of shake. But if I were to zoom in all the way to 70 millimeters, you can see that every little thing that I do is way more noticeable than at 24 millimeters. Those are just a few quick tips that I personally use to be able to get smoother and more stable footage. I know some of those examples may not have looked super drastic, but trust me, when I was first starting out, I had really shaky footage, and it took me a long time to learn how to calm down my breathing, calm my heart rate, use a little bit of a sway back and forth, keep my arms close to my body, and learn how to get smoother looking footage. But everybody is different, so find ways and find little techniques that work for you that help you be able to get more stable footage in your videos. If you enjoyed this video, you might also like this video over here where I talk about 5 tips for beginner videographers.